people were like, Snow White is coming out. Watch the movie, Paws. Well, someone else watched it for us. And they say it's really bad. So we're gonna check the video out.
There are certain fundamental truths about this world which are so universal that anyone, no matter their race, colour or creed, can pretty much agree on them. 1. Never trust a post-Vindaloo fart. 2. Spreadable butter isn't. 3. Anytime a woman starts a sentence with, "a real man would," you know you're about to hear some weapons grade retardation.
Oh my god, he's spitting facts!
And to that not-so-illustrious list, we can add that the Snow White live-action remake was, without a doubt, one of the worst ideas in the whole history of entertainment. Possibly the most predictable of all failures, a project conceived for all the wrong reasons, starring all the wrong people, pushing all the wrong messages, and telling the entirely wrong story. After all the delays and the controversies and the speculation that have been swirling around it for what feels like decades now, it was actually kinda weird to finally sit down and just watch this thing. Like,
isn't that the truth though? It's kind of like you see all these things about it and you consume all this media before it even comes out. Like I've watched free chat music videos about it, and we're about to watch a 4th one, and I'm just like, I have no interest in even watching the movie. That, and also like, I don't know, I grew up with another Snow White, so it feels weird to watch this one.
Like meeting a celebrity after following their career for years. Not a good kind of celebrity, like, more like a Jimmy Savile kind of celebrity. The kind that you're discreetly warned never to get into a lockable room alone with. But here it is, nonetheless. And now that I've finally suffered through nearly 2 hours of Snow White, I can confidently tell you that—
Wait, did they animate the dwarves? I thought they were gonna be human. They changed their mind on that one? Damn.
Yes, this film absolutely lived up to all my worst expectations, and in some cases even exceeded them. A bloated, overstuffed turkey of a production, weighed down by hammy acting, cheap costumes, horrendous CGI, and vomit-inducing cinematography that bungles most of the elements it steals from the original animated movie, abandons its classic ideals of self-sacrifice, heroism, and true love, and injects the lethal dose of the message, which is so redundant and thematically contradictory that it just gets abandoned by the ends. It's also laughably obvious where they've had to reshoot and rewrite big chunks of this movie in response to all the backlash.
Oh shit! Hiring real short people was offensive. Lannister. The dude who played Lannister was like Tis Kingdom, you know? And no one liked the IRL actress. Damn, how many times did they change stuff?
Entire subplots, characters, and setups are introduced and then abandoned without explanation, and the ending is so wildly anticlimactic and jarring that it makes World War Z look like a model of cinematic efficiency. Anyway, let's get the plot summary over with so we can put this turd behind us. The basic setup for Snow White is broadly similar to the original film. Snow White herself is born to the benevolent—
You know, I'm surprised that in their need to make everything equal, they didn't make the dwarves female. I'm just surprised by that, man.
King and queen of a generic medieval fantasy land that tactfully goes unnamed. Although, fuck me, they must have pretty good transportation links with the rest of the world, because the population here is more ethnically diverse than central London. Anyway, Snow White's mum died.
Oh man, they really wanted an America Snow White. Got it.
And her dad remarries Gal Gadot, who manipulates him into going off to war, where he promptly disappears and is never seen again. Oh no, I guess she's gonna have to take control of everything. What a bind. Fast forward.
To be manipulated by Gadot.
a few years, and the kingdom's become a kind of dystopian nightmare where everyone's poor and hopeless and ruled over by an iron-fisted tyrant. It's a bit like modern-day Britain, only with better sanitation and dental care. Anyway, after a confrontation with Snow White over a bandit named Jonathan who tried to steal some food from the castle, the evil queen decides the best thing to do is send her out into the forest where the huntsman can conveniently murder her. It's a bit extreme, but I'll let it slide.
The fuck? Okay. Sure.
Naturally, the huntsman has second thoughts and decides to let her go, and after wandering alone for a while, she runs into 7 dwarves that I can only describe as the kind of thing that Cthulhu probably has nightmares about.
Oh my god, Cthulhu has nightmares about these dwarves? Jesus, that is cursed. Holy shit, what did those dwarves do to deserve that, man? Damn, that's rough.
I'm not kidding, man. The brief glimpses that you got of these things in the trailers are absolutely nothing compared to the existential horror of actually witnessing them on the big screen. These are nightmares made real. Like if you woke up in the middle of the night and saw Mr. Blobby standing at the foot of your bed, silent, motionless, watching you with those...
They weren't employees of Deep Rob Galactic. Explains that. Explains everything.
Those blank, lifeless eyes that bore into your very soul. So after crashing at their house for a while, eating their food and helping herself to all of their resources, Snow White helpfully forces them to clean up their own home while she prances around like she's on some mad acid trip. Which she probably is, to be fair.
Nothing says that we're all equal in the world like ruling over some dwarves and singing while they do all the chores for you. Yeah.
I would be if I was in this fucking movie. Then for some reason she gets it into her head that her dad must still be alive, and the only way to find him is to seek out the bandits that lurk in the forests.
The fuck?
Right.
So naturally...
What? Oh, that's so bad. What? Oh my god. The writing, man. I just wanna... No.
She runs into Jonathan about 5 minutes after leaving the house so that the rest of the plot can happen, and he protects her from the evil queen's soldiers by taking an arrow that was meant for her, so she brings him back to the dwarves to get fixed up. Oh yeah, you know those retarded looking Starbucks baristas from those early set pictures that everyone thought were the dwarves?
Oh my god.
Well, those are the bandits, who are actually out of work actors forced to become thieves because the evil queen's taxation policies shut down their entire industry. Is that a reference to something? Is that a reference to something?
Is that a reference to something?
No idea. Anyway, Jonathan decides to lure the Queen's soldiers away to give Snow White time to escape, and then immediately gets captured because he's a bumbling idiot. And the evil Queen decides that she's had enough of this shit. Frankly, one sympathizes. So she turns herself into an old hag and manipulates Snow White into eating a poisoned apple that makes her go a bit dead. But that's okay because Jonathan escapes prison so that the rest of the plot can happen, and gives her the world's least passionate kiss, which brings her back to life so that she can begin her cunning plan to overthrow the Queen and take back her kingdom.
I'm shocked. I thought the actress didn't want him to do anything. I'm surprised he even had to do a kiss or have a say or a word.
Do you want to know what that plan is? Are you ready for the 4th dimensional quantum mega chess that she plays here that would probably give Christopher Nolan a brain hemorrhage? Well, she walks into town and then convinces the soldiers to turn against the evil queen because she can remember their names.
Really?
I'm not kidding, that's her plan. So the evil queen gets mad and smashes the magic mirror and then...
Are we sure he's not kidding? What? Okay. 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 Hey, not everyone likes big boobs, Suck Duck. Just because you're into the big boobs, man, doesn't mean she needs a boob job.
And turns into black glass and shatters, and Snow White becomes the new queen, and that's it. They all live happily ever after.
Oh, nice.
Now, there's a lot I want to say about this
That-
movie,
that was
but
it?
first, let us begin with the positives.
Really?
And as hard as it might be to believe,
Okay.
most of them actually concern Rachel Zegler.
No way!
Now, don't get me wrong, she might be an obnoxious arsehole in the real world, but credit where credit's due here, she actually isn't terrible as Snow White.
Not true.
So she's a good
I mean,
actress,
her
just a
outfit
cocky
looks like
one.
It cost like $100
Got it.
off Amazon. Her haircut makes Anton Chigurh like a cutting-edge trailblazer.
Honestly, though, the haircut is so fucking bad. The haircut is so bad. Like, it doesn't compliment her at all as a person. I don't know if that's what they wanted to go for. Also, I do agree with him. The outfit she's wearing, at least when she's dancing and prancing, it looks as if it's made out of plastic, like cheap plastic.
Her performance is a bit over the top and theatre kid at times, and her American accent comes and goes depending on whether or not she's in a reshoot, but I do get the impression she's at least trying to do her best with the material, and she can absolutely belt out the musical numbers, which is pretty much what you'd expect from a trained vocalist. The same cannot be said for Gal Gadot, however. It genuinely pains me to say this, but I think we all need to come to the acceptance that that girl cannot fucking act. It takes a special kind of charisma, presence, and dramatic range to play a good Disney villain, and well, Gal Gadot doesn't have it. Her delivery somehow
Ouch.
manages to be wooden and scenery chewing at the same time, and when she has to deliver a big musical number, you can pinpoint the exact moment where they swap out her voice with someone who can actually sing.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Jonathan is
You know, I'm tone deaf when I don't find that bad or ugly or weird sounding. I don't know, like, it's just like, it doesn't sound bad.
yet another entry into the bumbling, forgettable, non-threatening male sidekick list of modern-day Disney heroes. There's brief
I think
moments
the
where it
script
seems like
was
he might be
toned down.
displaying the tiniest bit of attitude
100%,
and heroism, but then
yes.
it's immediately squashed to reinforce the idea that men are all just a bit useless.
Oh, of
Visually, the
course.
film's an inconsistent mess. CGI Cthulhu nightmares aside, the colour scheme ranges from bleak, washed-out grey castles and towns that look like Zack Snyder directed it, to a kind of over-the-top golden yellow piss filter for the CGI woodland scenes that's so excessive it actually makes your eyes start to hurt after a while. It's funny as well because there's like one scene that was
man.
filmed on location in a real forest, and the contrast between that and the CGI fantasy version is so jarring, I actually thought the action had
that
shifted to a whole
sucks,
different
man.
country. Also, you can absolutely tell this movie's been reshot to fuck. The kiss scene where Jonathan brings Snow White back to life was absolutely added in later to try to appease fans of the original.
Yeah, I was like, man, I after all that talk and all that hate and all that, like, oh, he's a stalker. The fact that he kisses her was like, what? What the heck?
Snow White herself has clearly been toned down in places to make her less obnoxious, and I'd be willing to bet about 90% of the bandits' screen time has been cut. Most of them don't even get a single line of dialogue, which once again had me questioning, why the fuck are they even in this movie? I think the biggest problem though is the ending. The original movie had the dwarves battling the evil queen to save Snow White, reinforcing the idea of reciprocal kindness and redemption, but here Snow White has to resolve everything by herself, and the result is that none of the other groups or factions have anything to do. Both the bandits and the dwarves, and even Jonathan, just kind of stand around watching the whole thing play out, and I couldn't help wondering, what is the film even trying to show us here? Snow White as a character seems to be all about equity and shared responsibility,
Of course.
rather than privilege and greedy self-interest, but when it comes to the crunch, she ends up having to do basically everything herself, which negates the very point the movie's been trying to make for the
Hey. She didn't clean herself, okay?
past 2 hours. It's this fundamental inability to understand what it's even trying to say, beyond the crushingly tired princess who saves herself trope that's now become the very cliche it worked so hard to overturn that proves to be the film's real undoing. In short, Snow White is
I mean, you said it yourself, dude. She had to do everything herself because she can't rely on all the men around her. So she's the badass, you know, on her own. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't watched it. So, like, your guess is as good as mine.
is a modern day mess. A film that's basically been a disaster from start to finish, and now that it's finally out there and
Yeah, I
I've
don't
reviewed
get why
it,
so
it's
many
something
people
I'm very
hate
much
men,
looking
man.
forward to tossing on the ash heap of history.
Women are great.
Do yourself a big old favour, save yourself some time and money, and go watch the original instead.
Weird.
Anyway,
I know, weird,
that's all
right?
I've got for today.
Enjoying the original
Go away
instead. I should rewatch the original. It's been such a long time since I've seen it. But yep. Well, apparently it's worse than we expected. And had some surprising moments where Rachel was actually carrying it, which is weird. Not what you'd expect. But yeah, very sad. Very, like, it's weird where they put their money and what they focus on, like messaging and sending messages to people and whatnot. It's like, bruh. I wish, personally, what I really wish for is that they would stop rewriting things that I grew up with and instead just made their own new stuff. Like, honestly, just please, just let me have my old things. Let me have my old things. I won't consume your new media. Just let me enjoy my old one. Anyway, if you've made it this far into the video on YouTube, then comment Iron Fist. Yeah. And thanks for watching. And bye.